Good evening. Would like to call the Trotwood-Madison Board of Education regular meeting Thursday, August 20th, 2020, in accordance with COVID-19 recommendations at 5:40 p.m. Due to technical difficulties, we will not stream live via YouTube. However, we will upload the meeting shortly after. Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Andrews.
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman.
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman.
Yes.
And Miss Moore.
Mr. Scares has arrived, so.
Okay. Mr. Scares?
Yes, how can I help you?
And Moore.
Yes. Meeting has now been called to order.
Oh, I just made it. Look at that.
Well, we had technical difficulties, so we're good. All right. You're on time. All right. Madam Vice President, Ms. Bozeman, will you please lead us in a pledge of allegiance? And everybody's on mute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. I now need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and we have a second. Any questions, any changes, any additions to the agenda?
President Moore, don't forget to add the executive session.
I do have an addition. Are you ready for mine?
Yeah, I'm waiting. And can you put your can everybody be on mute? Because I hear crickets in the background. All right. Little real ones. All right. Go right ahead, Ms. Bozeman.
Okay, under board, let's see. I think it's under board policies. Let me take a look at that again.
Under board report, yes, ma'am. Number 4.
Yes. Board report. I would like to add B to that. And I want to talk a little bit about board policies.
Okay. Overall. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In addition, I would like to add in an executive session. Let's see. Right before the superintendent's report. So we'll make the executive session item 6. And that executive session will be to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of public employees or officials, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual per BOE Policy 0166 and ORC 121.22. Okay, so that will be an addition. And then all the subsequent numbers will just be stepped up to the next. Any others? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll? Oh, one minute. And action will be taken after that executive session. All right. Mrs. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Scares?
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Andrews?
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman?
Yes.
And Miss Moore?
Yes, motion passes. The agenda has been adopted. Any community comments, Ms. Allen?
I do not have any.
Thank you. Next item up, item 3 is our consent agenda items. Item A is approval of meeting minutes from July 9, 2020, July 16, 2020, July 23rd, 2020, and July 31st, 2020. Item B is approval of FY21 amended appropriations. Item C is approval of agreement for Ohio Medicaid school program services with Worcester LLC. Item D is approval of Purdue Pharma bankruptcy claim. Item E is approval of Cumberland Therapy Services LLC contract. Item F is approval of Maxim Healthcare Services contract. Item G is the approval of student activity purpose statements and budgets for 2020-21. May I have a motion on the floor? Anyone?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion. Looks like we have a second. Any questions? Seeing none, Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
Mr. Scarce,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes. The consent agenda has been adopted. Next item up is item 4, board report. And I am going to pass this on to the policy committee because item A is our face mask policy.
Yes. The face mask policy, we've been talking about this for a couple of weeks, and we're looking at a couple of different ones. One was the Neola policy that Mr. Scarce pulled out and sent to, I think, everyone via email. I know I received it via email. And then also there was one, I think, Ms. Moore, you sent it out to us via email from Springboro. And then we had a policy meeting with Neola, and we looked over the Neola policy that Mr. Scarce had initially sent out. And that was the one that we recommend that the board adopt. Now, since that time, actually one day after that meeting, the Ohio Board of Health came out with some added regulations that they wanted to include in face mask policies. So even though we want to adopt the Neola policy, we may want to go back and include some of these new specific guidelines that the Ohio Board of Health is recommending, which was a day after we got the information from Neola. So that might be something that we consider. But when I looked over the policy that Ms. Moore sent from Springboro, the one that we have from Neola, as well as the CDC guidelines, they were all the same, basically. In fact, Springboro's was copied and pasted, from Neola's. So they were all pretty much the same. The only difference now are the new guidelines that had just came out a day after we had our meeting.
Okay.
So on the agenda, it's actually for action. So I don't know how we want to proceed from here, because we need to get something going since school is starting. So we need to have a mask policy.
Yeah. If it's the pleasure of the board and we've already adopted the agenda as presented, we can go ahead and vote on Neola's policy as it is. And then the policy committee can go back and dig through a deeper dive into the new regulations that are very specific to every district. And we can make those changes at our next meeting. For now, I think it's imperative to get something in our policy as a policy for masks, especially since school's starting on the 24th. The staff is already there. And honestly, in my opinion, we're about 3 weeks late on this particular item. So, and
like I said, I checked through, they're really the same. There's not much of a difference in what I looked through from Springboro, what the CDC guidelines are, what Neola is saying. I think that it's a safe bet in going with what we have from Neola until we make those changes that just came out.
Okay. Is everybody good with that, board?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Freeman, Mr. Andrews. Okay, perfect. Given that, then we will go ahead and take a motion for board item A as presented.
Oh, am I?
Okay, let me start over. We're gonna start the meeting over. Okay, but Yes, I need a motion on the floor for board report item A, please.
I move.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you very much. We now have a motion and we have a second. Any questions? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
Mr. Scarce,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes. We now have adopted the face mask policy as presented. Ms. Bozeman, you added item B for
Yes.
information. Yeah.
And what I wanted to talk about is I wanted just to make the board aware that I want you to be sure, I guess as soon as possible, to take a look at policies in board docs, and you're looking at winter 2020 update and fall 2020 update, because those are the policies that we have looked at, that we're trying to adopt, and we need for you guys to make sure that you guys look at those, because we need to vote on those particular policies. Those have not been approved by the board yet. So those, it's quite a few of them in there. So you need to make sure that you read through those so that we are prepared to vote on those, coming up soon. And there are quite a few from winter 2020 and fall 2020. I think the winter 2020 ones got shoved or lost just because of the whole COVID, everything. And so we did not get an opportunity to read them, or they didn't get put where they needed to get put for us to read them. I'm not sure exactly what happened with those, but luckily Jan Ichi caught those for us, and so they're where they need to be now. But if you look under policies and under drafts, those are the ones that winter 2020 need to be read, and then the ones under fall 2020 need to be read. Those are the newest ones, but just be sure that you take a look at those so that we can get on the right page with our policies.
Okay. And would those be on the next agenda, Ms. Bozeman?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, for information only, and then we would.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any questions regarding policy information? Okay, well, I'm sorry. Okay, we'll move on. Next up, item 5, Treasurer's Report. Ms. Allen, please.
Yes, I have one item to present to you this evening, and these are the approval for the July financial reports. And we had a finance committee meeting this afternoon, and there were questions. And when I get to that report, I will and let everyone know the questions from the finance committee members. So the first one is the cash reconciliation report for July. And that report indicates the bank statement balances and the investment balances total to $33,422,889.29. There are outstanding vendor checks, and there were adjustments in the amount of $4,535.50, and those particularly were for a July 31st payroll, which crosses before when we closed. Those adjustments weren't taken into consideration, but those will fall off after this month. And so taking into those adjustments, if you add those adjustments or subtract those adjustments, that adjusted bank balance and the district bank balance on the Meta system do match to zero. The second report is a report of the revenues and expenditures for the month of July, keeping in mind that this is the first month of the FY21 school year. So the revenues, total revenues came in at $3.3 million. Expenditures were $3.7 million. And then it indicates that we had a excess expenditure over revenue of $476,136. And then at the bottom of the report, you can see our beginning cash balance, ending cash balance, and outstanding encumbrances. The last report is the checks over $1,000, and it was just one page this time. and the Finance Committee had several questions, and I wanted to go over those questions. Answers to the questions, but so there were 4 checks that I pulled after the Finance Committee. One check was check 095072 to EduLink, and EduLink is an in-touch parent notification system. And so I'm just going to read what I'm reading off of the invoice, and if there's other questions, maybe someone can provide extra details. Check number 09573 to McGraw-Hill was for a 1-year online curriculum for virtual learning for social studies. And the third check was 3 checks, was check number 09108 to Loudonville, Perrysville Juvenile Detention Center, and that was for student tuition for a total of 23 days. And so for one student ID, so it was for one particular student. And so that's all I had this evening.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Allen. I need a motion to accept Treasurer's item A as presented.
So moved.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Scarce,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes. Next item up, item 6, and this is to enter into a resolution to adjourn into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual per BOE policy 0166 and ORC 121.22. Need a motion, please? And action will be taken.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions? Being done, Ms. Allen, will you please?
Yes, Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
Mr. Scarce,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes. We will now adjourn into executive session at 5:57 p.m. So look for the link, and then we will reconvene back into this meeting afterwards. Thank you. Please sign completely out of this meeting for those that are attending.
Remember, Ms. Moore, when we come back, the meeting is still going to be live. So just remind everybody in the executive session that when we come back, we're going to be live. So
welcome back. I think we have everybody on board. We have the board members all here. Don't see Mr. Scarce. Are you here, Mr. Scarce? Okay.
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Okay, then we can move on. Thank you for sticking and staying with us through our executive session. We are now out of executive session, so we're going to reconvene where we left off, which is item 7, superintendent's report, approval of the personnel agenda.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Excuse me, President Moore, were you going to do the personnel agenda action?
Yeah, it is up for action, please.
Yes.
Please.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Go right ahead, Dr. Cosby, if there's...
Yes, I was asking for approval of the personnel agenda.
Mm-hmm.
So move.
No. Well,
No?
let me call for the motion. Okay. I need a motion to accept the superintendent item A as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
Mr. Scarce,
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes. The personnel agenda has been approved. Next item up are discussion items and updates. And the only thing under this particular item is the start of the virtual learning school. How are we doing? I know we've been in now for about 2.5 weeks or so, and school starts on the 24th.
Well, I would like to say that everyone seems to be really excited about how things are moving along. Our teachers have been tasked with getting their landing pages ready and getting their playlists together, and also they need to be prepared, to work with their students for those first 2 weeks to help them get online, to meet the teachers, and to make sure everything is straight as far as who has connectivity and hotspots and things of that nature. And so far, I have not received any major concerns. There's always, as you can imagine, a lot of excitement about getting ready to get the kids back, even if it is virtually. And there's also a little bit of fear because we are in this COVID situation, and we want to make sure that everyone is taking all the precautions that we can in our buildings. And I've been into most of them. They are following all of the guidelines. We are keeping distance. We are checking temperatures as the teachers come in. So everyone is doing the things that we have talked about. So far, so good. Ms. Minor, I didn't know if you wanted to add anything more about expectations, but I know primarily the expectation is that when the students start on the 24th, that we really just get to know them and their teachers and how to interact with their computers.
Yes, that is correct, Dr. Cosby. And we have, because we established clear guidelines for all of our staff, today we started our virtual fidelity check to see where our teachers were with the required landing pages, playlist, and things like that. And I'm excited to announce to the board that, we had a little competition, and our goal is for every building to get a certificate to say they're 100% online ready. And we did have, as of 4 o'clock, they're still working. One school is 100% ready for online learning. So I don't know if you could see that, but it's Madison Park. So yay, we'll cheer for them if we were all together. And there are some amazing examples of the work that the students have done. And so, Dr. Cosby, whatever you'd like, if you'd like me to show some of the landing pages or whatever, it's up to you.
If you have them available and you have a few minutes, I think you would be impressed.
Okay, so
is that okay with the board if we take a few minutes for you to see what these landing pages look like?
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
So what I'd like to do, Luke is going to help with this. I want him to pretend like he's a parent, and I'd like the board to experience. I get a lot of calls, we all do here, asking how to access the playlist and how to get in and get their children started. So I'd like Luke, who is never done this before, to follow my directions as if I'm telling him as a parent. So Luke, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am. And
okay,
I would like to reemphasize that I have never done this before. So I'm going to present my screen, and I will follow Ms. Minor's directions.
Okay, so Luke, I'd like you to first pull up our Trotwood-Madison City Schools website. And so he'll pull that up, and then I'll walk him through just as we would tell a parent how to access.
Are you seeing the right screen?
Yeah, it's getting ready to come up, I believe. Yeah, so if you just pull up the website, we're seeing it.
Is
And
that correct?
yes, yep, you're in the right place, Luke. Thank you. And Luke, I understand you're a parent calling in. And so I'm going to first let you know that we do have a help desk. I'm glad you called my line, but in the future, you probably want to call your school's help desk. And so if you go to the left and on the side of the screen, all the way down, right below the home button, and keep going down. Well, you're at the top. Well, you'll see to the left side, you'll see computer help desk. Do you see computer help desk all the way to the left? Okay,
Yeah.
click on that. And if you take the scroll bar to the right and scroll down, you'll begin to see each help desk representative and their telephone number. You'll also see to the right, I know you wanted to know how to log into your computer. Do you see the video that you can watch? What to do to get started?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. And then if you scroll down a little further, you'll see how to use the hotspot. You may have gotten one of our district hotspots, and this is how to set it up. That's a how-to video. And then if you scroll down below there, another video is Google Classroom, which is the way your child will turn in their work. And we want everyone to understand how that works. Clever is a login. And so these are how-to videos. Okay, so you can scroll back to the top. And now what I'll do, if you click on buildings across the top like you're looking, and you have a kindergartner, so go to the Early Learning Center. Yep, that's right. And now you're on the Early Learning Center webpage. And if you scroll down with the bar to the right, just scroll down a little bit, you'll see the opening, and then you see online learning. Do you see that, Luke?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead and click on online learning. And now you're on the online learning page. And I know you said your child was a kindergartner, and we can go straight to that. You want to scroll down. And first you'll see Dr. Cosby, who's our superintendent, with her message. And then you'll you want to just click on your building, the Early Learning Center. And now you're going to scroll down and right across the top, do you see where it says kindergarten?
Yes, ma'am.
Go there. And then scroll down and you'll see pictures of the teachers, and you'll see your child's teacher, who's Miss Carr. We'll look at her example. Yep, right there. Just click on her picture. And then she'll have a message for all of her families. And when you scroll down a little bit, I'm going to take you to where you can see what will happen the first week of school. And so if you ever want to know the lessons, you want to look for playlists, which is just our lesson plans. And I'll show you an example. So you keep going. She'll have a video on there, and you'll go all the way down till you see playlist. Go ahead and click on weekly playlist with the crayon, color pencils. And then this is what your kindergartner will do. Just scroll down a little bit, and you'll see the week of August 21st. She'll have all of her, and all of our playlists have four main parts. All teachers are required to have learning targets, learn about it, which is like the introductory, what we're learning, practice it, and you can scroll down. That's where they'll have choices of things to do. Evidence of learning is how the assessments will be given online. And so it goes all the way up to 12th grade. It'll be a variety. And so we get a lot of questions. And I know, Luke, your child, also you got one at Madison Park. So if you go back to the top and click on TM City Schools, and go to the very top in the gray where you see Trotwood. Go back to the district page at the top, right in the, see, all the way to the top, we're in the gray bar, and you see TM City Schools at the top, Luke, because you're going to go back to the website, the district website.
I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
Okay, so go see the top in the gray, and you see TM City Schools.
Yes, ma'am.
Up higher, that's the TM, but Trotwood City Schools online learning in the gray bar, the browser next to the board meeting button. Go up, 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 there, up, 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 right there. Click on that. Nope. Go over to, there you go, Luke, right there. Okay, now you're back, and that's how you would just go back to get to the other buildings. So we know a lot of people ask about students with disabilities. How are they getting service? How are we doing that virtually? And even our occupational therapists have landing pages. So I wanted to share that with the board quickly. So click on Madison Park, the school, the picture of the school, and you'll see the principal. Scroll down. You'll see welcome, hello. You're on. Yep. Scroll down, and you'll see Mrs. Sterner with her message. Keep going. Principal's message, communication. This is, you'd click on second or third grade if you're going to a classroom, but we're going to go look at what the occupational therapist will be doing. So keep going down. These are some of the support staff and Miss Kelly. Keep going till you see Miss Kelly. And click on Miss Kelly. And so she's put together many resources. Click on the parent and student resources. And then click on staff resources, just an example. She has things for families and teachers. And so we know that in online learning and they're on we don't want them with the screen time. She's put things on here for brain breaks, for movement that the teachers can use. So if you click on Apple themed wheel of moves, and these are resources parents and teachers can use. Uh-oh. I think if you just go to the top, click on wheel, click at the top where it says wheel, yeah, Miss Kelly, you could go back there, and then click on Apple themed wheel moves. Yep. And then click the spin button. It'll stop and you click on it, and it gives activities where kids can move. So a teacher can use it, the parents can use it. It's all types of activities for occupational therapy, and she's got a whole plethora of lessons. And so go ahead and click close. And so then go back to Trotwood-Madison City Schools at the top in the gray. All the way up, 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 up. Yep, that's fine. And so you're back to the website now. Does the board have any questions or would like to see anything else? There's gym lessons all the way up. Every building has all types of different activities.
Wow, it's nice. Very nice. Yeah, I had a chance to play around on it for the town hall meeting, and it's very, very impressive.
Thank you. Okay, so that's just a little update on what we have out there getting ready for Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Our teachers have done an excellent job.
Yeah, user friendly, excellent. excellent job, and the content is good. And I don't know if anybody else has an opportunity to play around. All the landing pages are so different. There's TED Talks on them. There's a lot of Afrocentric stuff on them, and quotes, and a lot of Black history stuff in there. I mean, it is just really good. The virtual library, I went to that as well. There's a lot in there. I mean, you guys have done a tremendous job putting together this online academy. And it's a public domain, so anybody can go there, the grandmothers, the aunts, the uncles, babysitters. So it is really, really, really nice. So I just want to say kudos to you, and we applaud you. I mean, that was awesome. I mean, even to be able to show us with Luke going through it for the first time.
Right. Thanks, Luke.
I think it is very realistic as to how a parent who has a child with them would be doing. Good job, Luke.
I want to emphasize that I have never done that before. She was walking me through it as if I was a parent.
One question I had, one comment and one question. Luke, you know, you have to apologize to tech guys everywhere through that display. My second question was, there was some issues with logging in. Has that been resolved, or parents getting passwords or anything like that?
I know that they're working on single sign-on passwords. We've done some tests with some families, and it's been working, especially since the parents are picking up the Chromebooks. A lot of them are logging in right away and making sure it works. The help desk is busy working, so there may be some problems with some logins, maybe not. I didn't hear anything that it's district-wide, but we do expect, you know, the first couple of weeks, that's why it's orientation weeks, getting comfortable logging in, getting orientated to the online learning environment. There will be a lot of trial and error the first 2 weeks. And that's the reason we're grateful we're starting earlier than most of the districts. We're starting in August so that by September, our instruction is ready to go. But we do expect, just in any typical implementation, there may be some initial login problems. I've not heard anything that's a system-wide issue, but you know, we'll see what comes up on Monday.
Thank you.
Any other questions about the start of school? Okay. Anything else, Dr. Cosby, that you would like to share with us about the start of school?
Well, the only other thing that I would like to just get on our mind, and I've sort of mentioned it, is the idea that at this point we have suspended, you know, as we know, our extracurriculars. And I would like for us to contemplate the possibility of doing some training with their students so that they can stay in shape, basically, so that they can get out in the fresh air and stay in shape, and then potentially start back up with skills training maybe in early October, to give them something to look forward to be exercising, to be in groups. And when we had the skills training before, we did not have any COVID-related issues, because they did, you know, of course, maintain the 6 feet distancing. They did follow all of the rules and recommendations. So I'd like us to consider that. Also, I have heard from other districts that are urban districts who are for the most part, you know, still in the suspension of extracurriculars, who are wanting to get together to discuss the possibility of spring, fall sports being held in the spring, even if it means those districts working together to make something like that happen. So I would just like for us to consider that. My understanding is that we moved from red to orange today as a county. Now, I don't know about our area code. I have not had a chance to look into that, but that is a good sign, that maybe we're moving into a more positive space. So I just wanted to sort of bring that up, and we can discuss it, or we can just think about it and maybe be prepared to talk a little bit about it next time.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw that, and that's huge. So we are flattening the curve. And, again, we did this 9 weeks of virtual so that we could just get started in a safe way. And so that is so exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
That's all I have.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I had a comment to that. In the governor's speech the other day about the athletic sports, someone asked about football, and he said he was meeting with football coaches later that evening or the next day. And I thought, okay, we were state champions. You think that we may have gotten a call. So I was just wondering, who of those did he call? And did we get a call to be a part of that conversation? I know he specifically referenced Centerville, but I'm thinking, okay, maybe you would look at least include state champs.
Yeah, I know that Mr. McCray was on one of the calls. I think they did do them by groups, and he did let me know that he, in fact, participated on one of the conversations. And, I think that, again, there's a lot of direction, and maybe this would be a good idea for you to do, but there was no, nothing more specific. Bottom line is, it's up to each local district how they want to move forward. I do know from my superintendent's meeting today that a lot of the GWAC schools, which are here in Montgomery County, are going to be playing games this fall, but only within their conference. And since we're not in a conference, even if we were to decide to do that, we would not be able to participate in those games. I think I had mentioned that at this point, it looks like there are 2 possible games that we could participate in, prior to when the fall teams would be going into the tournament. And I think that's why a lot of the urban districts are hoping to do something in the spring. But we were involved and invited. And I also know that our AD, Mr. Russo, is hoping to participate in the ODE's, not ODE, OSHA's spring conversation, because they said they were going to have one as well. So I do know we are having some input.
Dr. Cosby, am I correct? And I don't know if I read it somewhere, or if you sent it out to us, or I'm not sure, but if our sports teams can just participate in 1 or 2 games, they all go to the finals. Is that right? Or how does
they participate in the tournament?
Okay.
If as a matter of fact, they don't have to participate. They don't have to participate in any games. Everyone just has to notify the state by the 14th of September if you want to participate in the tournament, and you can participate in the tournament. I think that if we wanted to do that, then skills training would be so necessary, because you would not want our student athletes to not be physically prepared to play in a game, without having done some type of training and preparation. But yes, everybody now is being welcomed into the tournament for the fall.
If we entertain the idea of skills training a little bit later on in this process, how can we mirror that or something similar to it from an educational standpoint?
Well, I think, as you know, we sort of talked about if things were to improve and we decided to do our blended, that would probably be something that somewhat mirrors it, getting some kids in as things start to get better. And I think that's sort of what we're saying with the whole idea of sports and things, is as things start to improve and get better. And as I said, we're looking at maybe like early October to buy us some more, 4 or 5 more weeks to see what happens. Because we did move to orange, and we want to see if we stay there or get better. And again, I need to particulars that make sure that we're not still in the red, or we're probably not as deep in the red as we were initially.
From a personal standpoint, I would be okay with all of it, just as long as we were able to mirror both sides. So if skills training is something that we entertain approving based off the circumstances of our relative communities, then I would also like to see, the same thing on the educational piece ahead of what might be those 9 weeks.
Mr. Scare says, I sit here and think about it, and I do think it will take some, thought and getting with the teams and the building leadership and all. But yeah, people are doing a lot of different things. Some of them are, having maybe the younger grades come in for a short amount of time. One of the districts is doing half days for some students. We are looking at possibly OT and PT once a week being held. So there are little opportunities as things get better. I don't want to make a promise as to what it would look like, but I do hear what you're saying. And yeah, we could start to contemplate and think about what that could look like if things were to get better or continue to get better. It sounds like they are getting better.
Thank you.
Any other comments for Dr. Cosby on the start of school? So the only other thing is I understand that our students got a chance to meet their teachers when they picked up their technology. A lot of them, is that correct?
Yes, some of them did come in person and were able to meet their teachers, yes.
Okay, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And especially for the little ones, that's excellent. Other than that, I will move into the treasurer's comments. Thank you, Dr. Cosby.
I just wanted to say, obviously my team and I have been working all summer, but I'm really excited about the kids being able to begin their educational process for FY21 and hopefully to get to a near normal after this pandemic subsides. So that's all I had to say.
Thank you. Next up, superintendent comments.
I'd like to make just two small comments. One, I mentioned before, but I'm not sure if everybody really heard it. So I would like to say that during our executive cabinet, we were able to turn on our TV and see Ms. Moore and Mr. Scarce representing us on a town hall meeting for Trotwood. And I have to say, they made us proud. So thank you for that. And then the second thing is Lisa Minor, Ms. Minor and myself participated in an OLAC, which is our Ohio Leadership Group. They put videos of school districts who are doing things that are sort of really exciting and cool. They will put them on the ODE website. And so we were interviewed, and they're going to let us know when we will be on the website. And I will keep everybody posted. And Ms. Minor did an excellent job, as she always does.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Kudos and congratulations. And thank you. Next up, any board committee reports? And then we'll move into the board comments. Mr. Andrews.
I guess a couple things as it was relating to near and dear to my heart, of course, our athletic program. Hopefully our guys and girls can get back out and do some limited activities and things. I think it's really important. Also, if you came to that, I know that a couple schools around the area, greater Dayton area, are looking for games right now. Lima Central Catholic is one, but hopefully we kind of get back to that. And I also would like to see at least our youngsters have an opportunity to get into buildings at some point. I still think that that's really crucial, that they do more face-to-face than online. But like I say, I hope that we can look at our extracurriculars as well.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Andrews. Next, Mr. Scarce.
No comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Jeter Freeman. You're on mute.
I like the video and the walkthrough of the teacher's classroom. I might have to do that a couple of days, but I think my grandson knows better than I do, so I hope he remembered. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Vice President?
Well, I did not go with my son to pick up his laptop, but I heard from him and some other really reliable sources that it was extremely professional, that it moved very smoothly, and they just couldn't believe how everything just went great. So that was really good for me to hear. I was out of town, but I was so happy to hear that everything went so smoothly. I had to fill all of my forms out online before, or from what I understood, to fill out my forms out before he could get the laptop, and I did all of that. So that was all done. And, and he went and got the laptop. It was perfect. It was flawless. He came home. He has a bag to put the laptop in. It was very nice. And so we were really impressed with the entire process. So thank you.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm just hearing all good things. That's
I've
all I
heard
have.
nothing but good things about it. Nothing but good things about it.
All good things, and that's rare. So this is like, we're gonna hold on to this moment. And I want to say a special thank you to Ms. Miner and her team, Kira, for getting me ready for the town hall. Thank you so much. I learned so much about what we're doing and how we're doing it. I'm just blown away by all the components within our virtual academy. We are just so stellar. I mean, everything is stellar. I almost wish I had a kid to send to school. Almost. Right? Almost. but again, it was just so much fun, and those kids are going to have so much fun. They are going to enjoy the experience of virtual learning, and I just can't even imagine where those babies are going to be by the time they graduate. I mean, they can pick up anything like technology so fast because this is all they know. Those new preschoolers, oh, it's going to be unbelievable. So I'm just super excited about first day of school. In addition to that, I just want to thank the staff for all that you do and all that you've done. I know you guys have worked really, really hard, because if you guys look at those landing pages, I'm like, this looks like stuff from college. I mean, it's good. It's real good. And even how creative the teachers are. I went to the high school and I looked at science. Miss Field has Science Revealed with her name in there. Mr. Stone has Stone Cold Science. I mean, in like a cartoon. It's amazing. And I looked at every school building, and everybody is so creative. And I don't know how the teachers are feeling, but it felt like, you know how before all this testing and we got to meet this benchmark and we got to do this and that, it feels like they get to have fun. I mean, they get to create their own reality in their classrooms. They get to superhero day and all kinds of, I mean, they get to have fun with their kids, and they get to enjoy what they do in a creative way to teach kids. So I'm just, like I said, I am so excited about the first day. And I just want to say thank you to the staff for all you do. Thank you for all the directors for making sure that things are really tight, and the decisions that you guys have made as a unified body. And also thank you for getting our questions answered and they were hard questions sometimes, but thank you for, really and truly engaging in those conversations, because it really and truly is just all about us getting better and better and better. And Mr. Scaris, I actually see Trotwood being a virtual academy, even when things go to yellow. I can see where there may be parents that say, we love this so much, we want to stay in this vein. And I'm hoping at some point we can get to the point where we can offer all three in this district. I mean, just depending on what parents want. And even when COVID is over, which it will be over, nothing bad lasts forever. I believe that we will be so innovative. We don't have to go back to the old and familiar. We can really grow from here. So I just want to just say thank you to everybody. I want to say thank you to the board as well, just for your input and the preparation that you guys do for these meetings. So thank you. Given that, and congratulations, Dr. Cosby and Lisa. Okay, we'll be looking for that clip. All right, on the ODE website. Trotwood again is leading the pack, and we're excited.
Would you thank our tech team as well, because they helped really so much work to get all of these computers
Absolutely.
out.
Everybody should just give them a standing ovation. Can we just give them a standing ovation? Thank you, tech team. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
We know everybody's been working around the clock, and we appreciate that. So thank you. Thank you, Luke, for what you do for us on these meetings, as well as off of these meetings, because you do a lot of background work along with the other tech people, but we just so appreciate that. Did I miss anybody, Ms. Bozeman, our board? Is there something? Okay. And I'd be remiss to say, I'm glad that the coaches and the advisors and the principals and all of those folks are working on these ancillaries to get them back started. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for rising to the occasion and taking that challenge, because we want to make sure that our students are well in all aspects. So we're excited about the conversations that are yet to come, Dr. Cosby, on your recommendations and where we go from here with loosening the reins a little bit, not only with extracurriculars, athletics, and clubs, that sort of thing, but also integrating our students back in the district on the academic side. So thank you so much. Given that, I now need a motion to adjourn into executive session. These papers to consider, I'm going to say both because all things come up. Consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official for the individual or BOE policy 10166 and ORC 121.22 G1 and B to discuss detailed collective issues, the security arrangements and emergency response protocols for a public body or a public office per ORC 121.22 G6. Official action may be taken.
So moved.
So,
I'll second.
I got a motion and I got a second. Any questions? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Mr. Scarce?
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman?
Yes.
Mr. Andrews?
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman?
Yes.
And Ms. Moore?
Yes, motion passes. We will now adjourn into our second executive session, and that will be the superintendent of the board, Mr. Howard, please. Dr. Cosby, do we need anybody else? It's just a general overview.
I don't think so.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll log out and we'll come back to eventually adjourn. All right. Thank you. And thank you for joining us. Have a great evening.